Hi. Okay, are we live?
I think we are. I think this is happening.
I think like good evening, everyone. I'm Pia Wurtzbach, Miss Universe 2015 and one of WWF's Philippines fundraisers for our environmental frontliners and partner communities.
I'm Jeremy Jauncey, WWF US Ambassador.
Okay, everyone. Before anything else, I'm pretty sure everyone is wondering what fundraising hour is exactly. And for those who are not familiar, fundraising hour is usually an on-ground initiative where WWF Philippines spreads awareness on different environmental issues we're currently facing and to encourage everyone to directly contribute to the conservation efforts of the organization.
Now, for the last few years, fundraising hour events were done in shopping malls and other high traffic areas across the country. But of course, due to the unprecedented times that we are living in today, WWF Philippines decided also to do it digitally, mainly because our partner communities need us more than ever, and we want to make sure all of you stay safe.
Okay. So thank you so much, WWF Philippines, for having Jeremy and I tonight. This is actually our first fundraising live stream together. And so we're very excited to work together for the first time to raise funds to support the organization's environmental frontliners and partner communities. And WWF Philippines, we'd like to seek your generosity during these challenging times. Let us help the people who work tirelessly to ensure that we're all well fed and that wildlife and their habitats are protected. So for more information on how to donate, kindly check out the link on the pinned comment of this video. So it should be, okay, baby. So to keep everyone entertained and informed tonight, Jeremy and I will be sharing our conservation journey as well as tips on living sustainably. And as you guys know, Jeremy has been part of the Panda family as a WWF US ambassador since 2018 and is actively campaigning for smart conservation and sustainable tourism. His work has actually inspired me to be mindful as well of the environment. In fact, one of our first trips together as a couple was in an ecotourism site in Indonesia.
Yes, so continuing the thanks from Pia to WWF Philippines, obviously WWF globally, but most importantly to all of you guys for tuning in. You could be doing anything with your time right now, and we are very grateful that you are here with us. Hopefully what we're going to spend around the next hour doing is sharing with you more information about sustainability, why the WWF work is so critically important. As Pia mentioned, I will touch a little bit on sustainable tourism, our first sustainable tourism experience, and hopefully we'll have a good bit of time towards the end of the session for you guys to ask us any questions, to interact with us, and hopefully spend a bit more time with us. So I thought it would be helpful maybe to start, before we get into sustainable travel and eco travel, to begin with setting the scene a little bit around general sustainability in life. I think some of these lessons are applicable no matter who you are, no matter where you are in the world. And so to give you a very, very simple backdrop, when I was first introduced to the WWF, I had the chance to learn more about the overarching protocol set by the United Nations, which are the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. This is a framework that was created and committed to by countries around the world to help us as citizens live more sustainable lives. This was designed to teach us the things that we need to do, to work towards a goal in 2030 to be as sustainable as we can be in everything that we do in our life. And so the most important lesson that I wanted to share for all of you guys to start, and obviously Pia, I know we've spoken about this before, is to think about one very, very simple question. Do you know your environmental impact? Most of us don't. If you don't know that impact, then really how are you going to care? Because one of the most important things that I found in my own sustainability and environmentally driven journey was that if I did not understand the impact that I was having on the world from a sustainable standpoint, then how could I improve it? If I couldn't improve it, then how could I help others to do the same thing? So WWF has an amazing set of tools that will help you to understand how you are having an impact environmentally on the planet. The first thing that you can do is go to their environmental calculator. Now, I'm not sure if there's a specific one for WWF Philippines, but certainly in the UK, they have an amazing calculator that asks one very simple question: how big is your environmental footprint? You then go through
I
a
actually
series of
did
steps.
this, baby.
Oh, you did?
I did it last night. Yeah. So
Ah,
I
there
was
we
on
go.
the
Okay.
WWF website, and then
Okay.
I saw the footprint calculator. It was my
Yes.
first time to try it out. My
Yes.
results weren't very, they weren't so good, but I can still improve.
Well,
So
exactly. So that is the point, Davey. You started the process and now you know. And I think for anyone that is watching this, if you were to follow Pia's lead and just go and educate yourself, you can use this calculator and you ask a series of questions about certain things that you do in your life. So can you remember some things that you learn or things that you can change?
yes, yes. So first they ask you like your source of food, like how much meat do you eat in a day, how much
Mm-hmm.
beef, lamb, poultry, fish,
Mm-hmm.
and how much of that is locally sourced and from how many radius from your home, and
Mm-hmm.
also you're traveling, like how much do you travel in a car in a week, and how much do you use public transport, and how many hours do you fly, do you spend time in an airplane? So all of these questions were asked during the footprint calculator. And also like the sources of energy. Do you use renewable energy at home, or do you keep changing your appliances? All of these questions. So for anybody who's watching right now, go check your carbon footprint online. You can just Google a carbon footprint calculator, and then there's so many links there. So
Amazing.
did you
Yes.
get good results, babe?
So the truth is I didn't. And I've been very open. I've given talks on behalf of WWF in places where I'm talking about, my business and the things that I do. And really, I have a large carbon footprint. I've said this publicly. It's something that I'm working on because I really feel very passionately that once you know, you can make those changes. So what you were talking about for all of those that are listening was the three key pillars of understanding your impact. The first is transportation. So what the calculator does is it looks at all the different modes of transportation that you take in a given week, in a given month, and then it gives you a calculation of what that impact is. The second is your energy consumption. So are you using electronics? What kind of lights are you using in your home? What kind of other electronic tools that emit energy do you use? And then the third is the consumption of everything else. So as you said, the food that you eat, the goods that you consume, where do they come from? For Filipinos that are watching this, that are in the Philippines, are you buying and sourcing products from other sides of the world that have a carbon footprint when they get sent to the Philippines? Are you buying local? All of those things are the kind of key pillars that help you understand ultimately how you can then reduce your impact to the fullest extent. So I'm really happy you did that, and amazing that you learned, right?
Yeah. Actually, babe, for people who are watching right now and don't really understand what sustainable tourism
Mm-hmm.
means, because
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know much before I met you, honestly. But
Mm-hmm.
all that changed because you explained it to me. But maybe you can explain it also to our audience right now.
Of course, of course. So starting with that understanding of the kind of base level of your impact, as that translates into traveling, sustainable tourism is essentially tourism that respects local people, the traveler, cultural heritage, and the environment. Now, what that really means is understanding all of the key people in the ecosystem that are a part of your traveling journey. And when it comes to understanding the most impactful decisions that you can make to be a sustainable traveler, they fit into two pillars. One is where you travel, and the second is how you travel. So if we start with where you travel, the best way to be sustainable in picking the places that you travel to is to go to places that need support. These are destinations, and they don't have to be overseas. They can be close to where you live, that would really benefit from tourism dollars that you might invest when you get there for local people. This is something that I learned very, very early in my traveling days, was that actually economists around the world, they call the travel industry the ATM of the world, because the moment that you arrive in whatever place that it is, you start to put money into the local economy. So if you think, if you hire a car, if you eat at a restaurant, if you buy a coffee, any of the things that you might do, instantly you're giving money to people in that community. If you compare that to other industries, maybe like manufacturing or automotive, where they need to build factories, it's many years before the impact is actually felt by the community. But travel has this amazing way, sustainable travel has this amazing way of having immediate impact on communities. So I know when we went to Indonesia and to Bawa, we talked a little bit about what the experience was like going to a place that was thinking first about ecotourism. That was sort of your first experience, right?
Yes, it was. And that really opened my eyes. And I started thinking, I'm pretty sure there are a lot of places in the Philippines that also support sustainable tourism. And I did my research actually. So we have Bohol, Siargao, Siquijor, Davao City, Samal Island, Coron, and El Nido, where you've been. You've been to El Nido, right?
I have.
So Cebu City is also, so there are places in the Philippines that people can go to and support local sustainable.
Yeah, so I mean, one of the most amazing travel experiences that I've ever had has been coming to the Philippines. I've been talking for many years about how much I love the country, and obviously, you know, us getting together and what we're building really gives me so many connections to the Philippines. But you're absolutely right. The country has such an amazing natural set of resources that lean towards sustainable tourism. And hopefully, as more people will listen to the messages that you're putting out, the messages that WWF in the Philippines are putting out, they'll realize, you know, how amazing the natural resources are in the Philippines and how they can develop them and support them through sustainable tourism.
So actually, topic here, we also have, of course, sustainable is Donsol in Sorsogon. So WWF Philippines works with the Donsol local government and key tourism stakeholders in implementing a community-based whale shark ecotourism program. The program has generated jobs for locals, many of whom are now Butanding Interaction Officers, or BIO, Butanding Interaction Officers, tour guides, boat crew members, captains, homestay owners, and associated service providers. This community is one of our beneficiaries for today's fundraising actually. And not only are we helping the bios, but also their families. So not just that, we're also helping out 600, I think it was 200 families in Donsol. So not only are we helping the bios, the Butanding Interaction Officers, but also the families that live in that area. So they will be the beneficiaries of our fundraising for tonight.
Amazing. Well, we have to go. You and I definitely have to go. We've got to go check it out. And for everybody listening or anyone that has the opportunity to research and learn more about WWF, two things that you can do, which we would be incredibly grateful for. Of course, the first, as Pia alluded to, is if it's possible for you to support with any kind of donation, it's hugely, hugely appreciated. But we also understand that not everyone is in a position to donate. So if you're not, really just raising awareness of the work is as important. And it's been a commitment for both Pia and I to really use our platforms to step out into the world and talk about issues like this and raise awareness of the amazing work that WWF is doing. So please don't feel like if donation is not something that you're able to do, we completely understand, we completely respect that. But raising awareness is free and raising awareness is easy. So please feel free to share anything that we're sharing with you now. You can interact with us on social media, you can ask us questions, and we'll help to raise awareness for you as well.
Yes, that's what I tell my followers also too. I understand. Yeah. I mean, of course, during these times, not everybody has extra to give. I always say just sharing the links that we share on our social media posts, sharing, raising awareness is good enough, because you never know who's gonna see this post, who's gonna see this fundraising, and maybe there's somebody out there who has extra and who can help out, right? So exactly. For anybody, for people who are watching this right now and can't donate, just share the link, share it to all your friends, to all your family members. You know, we'll see who helps out. So anyway, also for those who just joined the live stream, we're raising funds, by the way, guys, for tonight for the benefit of WWF Philippines environmental frontliners and partner communities. So during these challenging times, let us support the lives of the people who work tirelessly to ensure that we're well fed and that the wildlife and their habitats are protected. So for more information on how to donate, kindly check out the pinned comment of this video. So going back, as Jeremy mentioned earlier, we're all staying at home in these extraordinary times, and this is actually the longest I've ever stayed in. It might be a little challenging, but because of this, I've had the time to really think about what I want to do and the kind of change I want to use my influence for, and how to help make that change into a reality. I realize I really want to become more sustainable as an individual, because even before we can practice sustainability outside, living we should be already practicing it at home. So this is actually one of the first few things I wanted to learn before I got really involved with WWF. I wanted to make sure that I knew enough and I was doing my part at home. So I actually did a little bit of research, babe. I did a little bit of homework, and then it just blew my mind by how much, I mean, basically everything we do really impacts the environment, from the food that we eat to the products that we buy, even like the clothes that I wear, from the way I travel. Every single move I make somehow impacts the environment. And what really like blew my mind too was, like, for example, a little candy wrapper, right? That candy wrapper is going to live for 500 years, and every computer that was ever made still exists today somewhere in the ocean. That blew my mind. So I started watching. You know this. I already told you, but for people who are watching right now, I started watching some documentaries on um, where they actually dispose of plastic and basically just trash and rubbish, right? And a lot of, I think all of plastic still exists today. And it just blew my mind um, how much we're destroying the planet without really knowing it, because we don't see it. You know how, out of sight out of mind. So when if it's not in front of you and you don't see it, you think it doesn't exist or it's not happening. But then I watched some documentaries and I saw it and I was like, oh my goodness, every single thing I have has an effect on the environment. And then I started thinking, what can I do? I'm only one person, but what can I do? So then I learned that, being mindful of your food, for example, having just having it locally sourced and supporting local farmers, um, having a plant-based diet, like what you always tell me to do. Those are ways that I can help. And also products, supporting products and businesses that give back to the community or that are sourced sustainably. It just made me more aware and more awake. So everything I see now, somehow I'm thinking, I wonder where this came from, or I wonder where they sourced this from. I wonder if they're um, they're abusing the crops. I wonder if the farmers are getting paid properly. I wonder where this wrapper, this shirt, this plastic, I wonder where this fish, I like everything around me. I wonder where it's from. So then you just become more aware. I know
That's
that
amazing.
some people are watching this right now might think that, oh, like I don't have time for that. There are so many other things in the world right now that I should be focusing on. But guys, it's really not rocket science. If I can do it in like an hour, you can do it too.
So yeah,
All you
for
have
those
to
of
do
you
is,
that want to follow Pia's example, we started together, and you know how proud I am of you of going through this and learning all this, and then using your platforms for advocacy. You've always done that, and with sustainability, it just sets such an amazing example to the world, because it isn't difficult to do. And I think you hit the nail on the head when you said that it's very easy to start if you're aware. And so going and doing
Mhm.
something like the WWF calculator that gives you that insight of kind of where you are at a base level can then take you into some really simple things that don't dramatically change the course of your life, but can, over the course of the rest of your life, dramatically impact the environment. So the things that we've talked about in terms of your plastic consumption, energy consumption, the way that foods that we eat, all of these things can have an impact. So I would really highly encourage everyone to do what Pia did, which is go and have a look at a carbon calculator. Just go and get a sense of where your baseline is, because really, if you can measure and understand what your impact is today, you can improve it. And amazing organizations like the WWF exist to help us do things like that. And a very large part of the work that I try to talk about on behalf of WWF is educating people that the organization is one of the largest environmental impactors in the world. Positive impact across all areas of the environment. It's not just about animals. I think exactly to Pia's point, it touches every single part of your life, from the things that you consume to the places that you go, to your impact within your communities, to better living for other individuals. And all of these things are aligned with those 17 Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. So the information is there, the roadmap is there. You just have to educate yourself a bit, just like Pia did, and get out there and start.
So for people who are watching this right now and thinking, so how do I do it? What can I do from home? I mean, it doesn't have to be so complicated. For example, so buy food from your local market and find out where they source the produce from. I mean, that's a start. And then also saving water. Like here in the Philippines, have you ever heard of tabo, baby?
No, so I want you to tell me about, we've touched on this. I want you to explain.
I know,
this
I was saving this for this moment.
Yeah, exactly. This is our audience. Explain for me, please.
Okay, so instead of, you know, when you have a shower, so the water is kind of just flowing endlessly, and then even when you don't really need it, it just keeps going. So in the Philippines, there's a way to save water if you use a tabo, and I have it actually here already because I knew I was going to show this to you.
Okay,
so
show me.
This is tabo.
Right. Okay.
What, have you ever seen this before?
Maybe not a Filipino tabo. No, this is a first.
Wait, what do you call this in the UK then?
I think we'd probably call that a pot or a pan. No.
No, baby. This is you can't heat this. No, this is just for water. Yeah. So it comes in many different colors, but only one size, unfortunately. So I'm not kidding. So if you have would you call it a bucket of water, and then instead of you can save by scooping out the water that you need.
Okay. That's simple.
It. I mean, this is already a very Filipino thing. I show this and people are probably laughing right now like, oh my gosh, Pia Wurtzbach is showing Jeremy a tabo. But this is a very Filipino thing. And we already have this. Most Filipino households have this. So use it, guys. Let's use it. This is a way of conserving water if we just, embrace our Filipino-ness and use the tabo. Don't be embarrassed by it. So, baby, we're going to start using this now.
Yeah, our next post on Instagram will be having the tabo. We will show people how to use it.
Tabo wars, right? And aside from, of course, saving water, knowing where your food comes from, also instead of taking a car and you're alone, you're going to be alone in the car, why not carpool, or why not public transport, or why not use a bicycle? There's so many ways. I mean, as I said, it's not rocket science, guys. You don't have to be, I think also, babe, there's a misconception that for you to care for or show any care to the environment, you have, it's kind of like how do I explain this? Like only the rich people, it's a rich person's problem. Do you get what I mean? But it's not. This is everybody's responsibility. This is our responsibility. No matter where you come from different people from different walks of life, it doesn't matter. We all have a responsibility of taking care of the earth that takes care of us naturally.
Exactly. And I think if we can play a role of educating people how easy it is, then that's the best thing that we can do. And anyone that's watching this, if you feel comfortable resharing the messages that we're sharing, please do, because raising awareness and educating people is just so critically important. The majority of people will either feel like they don't know what to do, or to Pia's point, will feel like it's not their problem or it's something that's inaccessible to them. But when I first started working with the WWF, one of the most amazing pieces of feedback that I got, which I think I've now been able to apply to so many parts of my life, is in your journey to become more sustainable, one of the main things to focus on is the idea of progress, not perfection. It will take you time to get to the place that you want to get to be more sustainable. You will make mistakes. You will learn things. You will be in environments with your friends and your families where they are doing things which aren't as sustainable as now, hopefully, that you've learned. You can change. So in that path to make a difference to the environment, just take little steps of progress, because ultimately all of those things will add up. I think it's also critically important to understand how much of a change you can have, because you never are that one person. If you're a part of the WWF community, if you sign up for the emails that we send out, if you are able to make a small donation, you will be a part of the family in the way that that I've been able to be for the last few years, and been able to have experiences with them, with the communications that they send, the education that they share. All of these tools and resources are right there for you if you just take a step forward and learn a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm so glad you mentioned that, babe, because talking about progress and not perfection, sometimes I get comments like, well, we see you using plastic now and then. And I mean, yes, I'm not perfect, but I'm aware now and I'm trying to learn. So, and especially here in the Philippines and during these trying times, it's kind of hard to avoid plastic altogether, like completely. But then instead, we want to teach people how to reuse plastic. So, for example, food containers. Instead of just throwing them out when you have food delivered to your home, you can reuse them to store other food, right? So, there's different ways of going about it without, and I know it's not going to be perfect, but then just being aware all the time, educating yourself, and making the steps. I think if we all do that, that will make a big impact collectively.
It will. And if you think about it in these sort of two pillars, where one is the journey that we're going on together, which is very much a personal journey where we're learning what can we do to be more sustainable. And today I'm the one that's teaching you a little bit more because I'm a little bit further ahead in the journey. But I have no doubt that given the way I know you, very soon you'll be teaching me stuff and you'll be sharing stuff with me that you've learned. So taking personal responsibility is something that all of us can do and is very simple to do. But then taking collective responsibility is also just as easy by looking at what WWF is doing in the Philippines and around the world, the specific conservation projects that they are aligning themselves to. You as an individual can have massive impact by supporting the work of these people who are working on a much bigger scale. So never feel like you're just on your own. I think you mentioned it at the beginning. It's a very, very common feeling. You know, people think like, well, it's just me. You know, am I going to have an impact if I do this on my own? I won't bother. You will have an individual impact because you can influence those around you who can then have a bigger impact. And then if you are in a position to support the WWF and their conservation projects, you can have a much, much bigger impact, and then everybody benefits. So that's why I think I'm so incredibly grateful for the organization to, you know, to bring us and let us get involved and let us try and help raise awareness of their work.
Yeah, I mean, it started with you educating me about it, and now we're talking to more people about it. It's like a ripple effect, you know. You never know who you're gonna influence or who you're gonna teach, and then how many people that person is gonna teach, paying it forward. So then, so thank you for that, my love.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure.
Okay, so you guys can always start living sustainably at home. And as with everything, you can always start with baby steps. So how about now we do a quick Q&A with our audience. Can you guys share the conservation practices that you've been observing since the quarantine?
Yes.
So please write them all in the comment section because we'd love to hear from you guys. So we're live right now, by the way, so we'll see all your comments.
So while we're waiting for those comments to come in, again, we just wanted to thank you guys for tuning in. First off, everyone has been so supportive of Pia and I. We're incredibly grateful to all of you guys for doing that. But when you think about the way you can have impact with the WWF, really there is no more important mission in the world than the ability to save our planet and save our environment and provide a sustainable future for ourselves and for our kids and for our families and so on. And so anything that you can do to share the message that we've been sharing today, whether that is posting more content about it on your social channels, tagging WWF, talking about it, even if it's as simple as now when you finish this interaction with us, just going and telling your family and just saying to them, guys, we learned this thing from Pia and from Jeremy. What do you think? It's really easy to implement at home. Why don't we just start with that? Often I found that when I first started sharing with Pia this kind of sustainable journey, each thing that I shared, it would say, oh, that seems so obvious and it's so easy to implement. So as she said, just educating one person that's close to you then creates this ripple effect.
Mm-hmm. We have a few comments already, baby.
Okay.
So
Okay.
From Mark Anthony Cabrera says, we use our ice cream canisters to store fish and other meats. So Filipino. This is a very, have you ever gone to your freezer, babe, saw
Yes.
an ice cream tub, opened it, and it was fish instead?
So, I've heard this is a very Filipino thing, and I know you've been teaching me more and more about Filipino culture, and I love it. But no, so Mark Anthony Cabrera, I have not had that experience yet. but when I come and see Pia, and when I come and see you guys in Manila, I will definitely make sure I check her freezer before I start eating anything.
Yeah, no, check the fridge, and then if it's ice cream, don't have your hopes up too high yet. It might be fish. So
yeah, I don't think you'd be happy with me if I eat your ice cream.
Okay, many people agreed about using tabo to save water. So
Good.
A lot of people are able to relate to this now.
Good, baby. That's good.
And Judy Rabines says composting reusable bottles and straws.
Yes. So Judy, what you were touching on, sustainable agricultural practices, incredibly important. Regenerative agriculture and the idea of finding ways to put nutrients back into the soil so that we can basically grow more healthy and more healthful crops. Very, very, very important. One of the things that I have learned about the Philippines is obviously the quality of produce that you can eat if you source local food. Certainly people in the provinces have the ability to tap into brilliant local food on their doorstep. And so if you're in Manila or if you're in a city, then absolutely make the effort if you can to try and find locally sourced Filipino fruits and vegetables. They will be incredibly healthy. It's an amazing comparison actually for me living in the US and growing up in the UK, where we have huge, mono agriculture setups where we have thousands and thousands of kilometers of single crops, and these crops are covered in pesticides. They're farmed in a very extensive way. The soil is treated incredibly badly, and effectively so much food is created from those systems that is put out into the food system that the majority of citizens then are given bad quality food. In the Philippines, you guys do have a way to counteract that because you don't have these massive fields of wheat and grain and crops that we do in the States. So eat local food. So Judy, you're absolutely right. Composting and then finding ways to improve the soil is a very, very good way to be more sustainable.
So she also mentioned buying vegetables online, sourced directly from farmers. Oh, this is a trend now too. Because of, everybody's avoiding going to the public market. So everybody has them delivered to your homes. Find out where they source these produce from.
The thing that's amazing about situations like that, and Judy, thank you for bringing this up, is there's a triple benefit when you look at things like that. So the first benefit is when you're buying from local farmers, you're supporting local people, local communities. You're putting dollars into local people's hands, so they are benefiting. The second is you are getting better quality food. So if you're eating better quality food, you are healthier, your kids are healthier, your family is healthier, so you personally benefit. And then third, on the macro, the environment benefits because it's better, more sustainable, more regenerative agriculture practices. So it really is as simple as thinking about how do you help your community, how do you help yourself, and then how do you help the environment at large? And it all fits together and everybody wins.
Baby, I didn't know that you were into this. Wow. I mean, we only talked about sustainable tourism, but I never heard you talk about like sustainability as a whole.
Yeah, and it's so simple, baby. It's so easy if you just educate people on the really simple steps that they can take. And think about the food that we will be eating when we're together. If we source it from local Filipinos, we're helping local people. Yeah. We're helping ourselves because we're getting good quality food, and then we're helping the environment. So I think it's really important. Everybody wins. And you can cook.
And I can eat. And
I'll cook.
Okay, so we have one more comment here.
Okay.
You segregating garbage. Oh, this is important and something we can all do at home.
Yes, it's very, very important. It's also very, very simple to do. It really just takes a couple of seconds to take the time to separate your garbage, right? And I know we don't do it. I know there are times at the end of the day you've just fed the family, you've just sat down with your friends and you say, oh, I'm just going to throw away the rubbish and just not think about it. But if you just take an extra few minutes and separate the garbage, then you can put it in places where it can actually be properly recycled. Unfortunately, if garbage is put all together in the same place where you throw it out, you can't, the people who will pick it up and then process it can't separate it because it has been contaminated. So if we can take the steps at the beginning to separate out and recycle, then we can have a much bigger impact. Easy stuff.
Yeah, I also actually saw some footage of like the garbage collectors on how they have to, sometimes they can't separate it themselves and they're already doing so much work. I feel so bad, you know, like I want to do some of the work already at home. So I agree, segregating garbage is very important. Another is using basin in washing dishes instead of running water. Oh, this is also kind of like a Pinoy thing. Learning how to plant in the small spaces in our homes.
So we've talked about this a lot and talked about the idea of having a garden together and growing our own vegetables and then being able to cook them up. And that is absolutely amazing. I think number one, it's a bonding experience for the family. I think it's a brilliant thing to do. I remember when I was a kid, my mum, because we grew up on a farm in Scotland, my mum would love tending to her garden, and my brother and I didn't really understand and certainly weren't thinking about sustainability back then. But now realizing that if you can plant your own vegetables, even your own fruits, and you can bring them for yourself, for your friends and your family, it's a much more sustainable way to do it. So whoever asked that question, thank you. And please inspire all of your friends and family to plant their own if they can.
Okay. Sunita Riyar says, bringing our containers and bottles when we go out to purchase food and drink. Oh, I've been doing this. I have a water bottle with me everywhere I go that I just refill it's not a bottle, it's
like a thermos.
Yeah.
Well done, baby. Amazing. So simple to do, right?
Yeah, and just bring that with me everywhere I go. Even when you're traveling, instead of then buying, drinks and then just throwing them away after. So then, Paulo Butaran Pagaduan of WWF Philippines says, as much as possible, opt out of plastic utensils for your food delivery at home. Oh, yes.
That is a very good point, especially now considering with Corona, so many people are having to, maybe they don't eat out, they have food delivered to them. That's a very, very good point. So I don't know if is there a food delivery service?
Lots.
Okay, there are. Yeah. So maybe then.
Where you can, there are food delivery services here in the Philippines where you can opt out of
perfect
plastic utensils.
Perfect. That's great. That's really, really great. So yes, I didn't catch that person's name.
Paulo.
That's a great point. Thank you for raising that.
Okay, we have another one here, babe, from Kyrios Ellison Paracha. So Kyrios says, we recycle cups of milk, teas, or cup noodles as flower pots.
That's great.
Ooh, I should do this.
Great. You should do that. You should definitely do that. Yeah, get them around the house.
Yeah. Okay, so Luz V. Ilagan says, just a few clothes shopping for the past few months because I realized I don't need a lot.
That's a very good point. And actually, that's a great lesson for us all to learn, really, because when you think about actually where your clothes come from, many of the clothes that we buy are shipped from other sides of the world, and the carbon footprint of that piece of clothing by the time it reaches you could be enormous. Now, there is a very similar parallel with how you think about your food, so how you think about your clothes. So buying local brands, or at least finding out where the brands you like source their materials from, because maybe you don't need new clothes every single week, and maybe the ones that you buy you can buy from local sources. So that's a very, very good point.
Yeah, I just want to flex that Uniqlo recycles their plastic and they can make t-shirts out of it. So I'm really happy about that. When I saw it, I was amazed. I was like, what? You guys can do this? Amazing.
Yeah, good.
Another thing is Michelle S. America says, most Filipinos I know here in the US have their little garden full of organic vegetables and fruits, harvesting it, giving it to their friends and their families. this was our idea, baby. We wanted to
I
do
know,
this.
I know. Well, first off, there's an amazing Filipino community in the US. So if anybody is watching that are Filipino friends that are in the US, it's early in the morning. So thank you. And yes, this was an idea that Pia and I talked about, because just the idea of growing vegetables together and fruits and then sharing it with your friends, like there's so many upsides of that. There's so many benefits.
And isn't it so sweet for you to gift something you grew yourself, right?
Yeah,
Not
exactly.
something you
Yeah.
just purchased. Like this comes from the heart, really from the heart.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly.
Okay, Maria Winnie Simbulan Hilaria says, saving the drained water from the washing machine to reuse it for watering the plants. I didn't know you could do this.
I mean, literally, this is amazing, because what it sounds like is people that are commenting to us are sharing all the ways that they're being economical with their use, their consumption of energy and their consumptions of products. So really, you can always find ways to be a little bit more sustainable with very small tweaks. So yeah, saving that drained water for absolutely any use that you might need, any other water use is a great idea.
I have another comment here that says, conserve. Elvira DJG says, conserve electricity is to turning off the lights, electricals, if not in use. I'm always aware of this, even before I joined WWF. If it's because my mom taught me, and I can hear her voice, even though she's not around me, I can hear her telling me, turn off the lights if you're not going to use it. So I just like switch off everything before I leave.
Well, it's good advice. It's good advice. It's stuck with you.
Yeah. Okay, so Catherine K. Dial says, we've been reusing water from the washing dishes to use it to water our plants. Okay. Me says, you know, at school, we ask our students to bring tumbler instead of using plastic. We also have a policy like basura ko iuuwi ko to lessen trash around. So what that means is basura ko iuuwi ko, my trash, I'll bring it home. That's a direct translation. So if it's from me, I'm taking it with me, basically.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Well, Maimi, thank you for sharing that. It sounds as though you may be a teacher or you work at a school. So that is amazing. Yeah, please, educating young people is incredibly important, making sure that kids understand the importance of having these behaviors. You know, they talk about how in behavioral learning, the earlier you can start working with kids to help them understand the importance of taking care of the environment, the more likely it is to stick as a habit throughout their whole life. So you heard obviously Pia's example of switching off the lights from her mum when she was a kid, but teaching kids now at school, you know, be conscious of the environment, make sure you're conscious of your waste, think about your consumption of energy, what is the transportation that you use. It's incredibly important. And little kids are like sponges. It's amazing. They're there to soak up, you know, information, and they learn, and they will grow based on the example that you set. So if you can set an example within the school environment to be more sustainable, then you will hopefully be impacting people for life, and then they can impact all of their friends. So keep up the good work.
Because this is also kind of like a learning, kind of like creating a habit, right? So it's not a one-time thing where, okay, I did it once, I'm pretty sure I'm going to keep doing it again. It's conscious effort.
Exactly. And I think if you can keep in the back of your mind, as we've always spoken about with any of the goals that we set, having someone that can help you be a partner in this and be accountable. And you hold me accountable for so many things. And when you teach me new things and you check in on me and you make sure that I'm learning them and I'm implementing them, and then hopefully I can do the same for you, it just makes the journey much more fun. And it also makes it much more likely that you're going to stick to it. So yeah, definitely.
I have here a comment from LJ Peñalba. I've been buying cold brew from a certain store, and they'll give you a discount if you turn the bottles to them.
Yes. So what you're touching on, I think, is incredibly important that we haven't spoken about yet today, which is the power that you have as a consumer to influence the brands that you buy at to be more sustainable. So Pia mentioned the amazing things that Uniqlo were doing in terms of being able to recycle their product and create garments from recycled materials. Really what we find is that the most important thing that we can do to influence these huge brands to have more of a social conscious is to shape your purchasing decisions based on that. So LJ, by doing that, by buying cold brews specifically from places where you can return them, you're showing with your dollars that you will invest in things that are driven by sustainability, and that is incredibly important. So would encourage more and more people to understand that. And it goes back to that system that we talked about, where you as an individual can make personal choices that will impact the environment. If you do it right, hopefully you can see from the way Pia and I are interacting with each other and teaching each other, we can then have an impact on each other. That then has a ripple effect on our friends and family, and then ultimately that can have an impact on brands as well. So it's a very good way to think. So well done, LJ.
I have another comment here from Maria Rosario Roque Galanto. Eco bags for groceries instead of plastic bags.
Yes. This is the situation that we've talked about for many years, is the opportunity to reduce single-use plastic bags. So that is a very good way to think about it. I think it's again, it's to your point, Pia, it's just getting into the habit, right? Just remembering to do it and remembering to stick at it. And when we do grocery shopping, making sure we carry our own bags is a really good way to start having an impact.
I have another one here from Veronica. Walking or using of bikes instead of using a car to go somewhere helps too, especially if it's nearby, and it's great exercise at the same time. And I know you're very much into fitness, baby, so you love this.
That is right. This is one of my favorites. So definitely, I think it's a little bit easier for me being in New York, because it's a walking city, as you know. But certainly, if you are living in a place where walking is not realistic for you, jumping on a bike is incredibly important. And maintaining and improving your health is so important. If you take care of yourself and then have the sustainability in mind, then the output is much better. And again, I know, baby, you and I spend a lot of time talking about health and fitness and the foods that we eat and how we can be healthier. So it's good to see that the people that are supporting you are also doing the same.
Babe, there's another comment here that I find really interesting. So apparently, if you clean the fish with water, you don't take that water away because you can use it to your plants, to water your plants. So I didn't know that you could do that. Oh.
I didn't know you could do that.
Another one is Rona Garcia says, using banana leaf for food to go instead of using plastic and foil. You've seen this, babe, right? Like
I have, and you've told me about this. Okay, so guys that are watching, you should know that Pia talks a lot to me about Filipino food. She shares a lot of her favorite Filipino foods, and these are foods that I have to try. So when I first came to the Philippines in 2016, and this is before Pia and I, before we knew each other, I tried lechon. I tried bulud. I tried. Oh, what else did I try, baby? What were the other?
Baby, did you eat the chick of the balot?
I actually didn't. No.
Okay, it's okay. I don't eat it either. It's fine.
Yeah, I saw it, but I had this amazing experience because the first time I came to the Philippines was with the Department of Tourism, and Beautiful Destinations does a lot of work with those guys, and they gave me this whole experience around Filipino food and Filipino restaurants, and it was an amazing experience.
Have you tried have you ever experienced a boodle fight with a banana leaf and then the food is then you eat it with
no.
Don't worry, leave it to me. I will make sure you have
this is okay. I will hold you to that. So Rona, thank you for that. You have you've committed to Pia making me one of these
boodle fight. Yes.
Boodle fight. Okay, I'll remember.
Yeah, but don't worry, nobody gets hurt.
Okay.
Full.
A boodle fight. Wow. Okay.
A boodle fight. Yeah.
Okay, we have to do this. So, looking at the time, I know that we only had about an hour with everybody, and we're coming up to the 50-minute mark. So, maybe are there any more questions? What do you think?
No, actually, that's the last one.
That was the last question. Okay.
Yeah,
well, it has been really amazing talking with you. It always is, but then being able to talk about a passion that we care about and supporting WWF. So with that, there is a very exciting announcement that I would like to make to kind of cap off the fundraising hour. We have some very exciting news, which is that starting today, Pia is officially joining the Panda family.
Oh my gosh, yes. Today I'm standing in front of everyone, not just as your Miss Universe, but also as WWF Philippines' newest ambassador. Of course, aside from Jeremy being a big influence on me, I always want to use my platform as a public figure to campaign for relevant issues. And with the pandemic showing us that planetary health is deeply connected with human health, I think it's high time for us to acknowledge that our actions do affect the planet and everyone around us. I hope you guys would continue to support me in this new journey of growth the same way you did when I brought home the crown for the country. And I thank you.
Amazing, baby. Thank you. I really, really thank you. You've always used your platforms for advocacy, and then coming in and supporting WWF is absolutely amazing. So we have a little surprise for you, which you don't know about.
What?
Yeah. So I'm going to turn over to the WWF team for something we wanted to share with you.
What? What?
And let's see if this works on live.
Hi, Pia. Welcome to the WWF Philippines family. I am so thrilled to know that I will be working with you and that I'll get to spend more time with you. And we are deeply honored to have you be part of the Panda family. And I just want to say thank you for always using your voice, your platform to do good in this world. So mabuhay ka and welcome to the family.
Hello, Pia. Nice to see you. Now, if it weren't for this pandemic, I'd be there personally to meet you and greet you. So you want to make this world a better place? Well, it starts by looking in the mirror. What do you see? And I don't mean your face. What I see a queen with a crown who can turn things around to inspire others with her voice to make the green choice. You, the queen, the earth can be your king. Together, we can all save the bees, the trees, and the butanding. Pia, use your platform wisely. Inspire to perspire so we can all retire. There'll be no more forest fires, no more plastic wires, pyres of rubber tires. The earth is in dire need of your help. Welcome to the Panda family, Pia.
I'm personally welcoming my queen sister to the Panda family, Miss Universe 2015, Miss Pia Wurtzbach. I'm truly looking forward to working with you in different conservation projects. And of course, once again, welcome to the Panda family.
Hey Pia, it's Janine, and I just want to say welcome to WWF Philippines. I'm so happy that you're a panda now. I've always admired you and your amazing work for charity and your favorite causes, and I'm so happy that now you're also deciding to help with WWF Philippines. So welcome, and I can't wait to see you soon, Panda.
And the winner of Miss WWF Philippines Ambassador 2020 is Colombia. Just kidding. Welcome to the WWF family, Pia.
Oh, that's so sweet. Oh my gosh, I didn't know you guys prepared this for me. Thank you so much. Oh, that was such a sweet surprise. Baby, I know them. I mean, they're my friends. Yeah. And remember Isa? I was telling you about Isa. We spoke about her before. Isa's amazing. I did some work with her for She Talk Asia, and I hope to do some work with her again. Karen, and Karen, I love Karen, Miss Earth. I love Janine. Thank you guys so much. That was actually so sweet. Thank you, baby.
Of course. No, listen, it was all the WWF team. They did it, and of course, thank you to you for jumping in on this and supporting. So, guys, with that, we are concluding the fundraising hour. Really, it is a huge honor for us to be associated with WWF, and it's a huge honor for us to be able to talk with you guys. Thank you so much for all the questions, all the comments. As we said at the beginning, please, if you can, support in any way that you can. The work for WWF Philippines and across the world is critically important, and we can make a difference if we step up and support them.
Thank you so much to everyone who generously donated tonight. Again, if you guys want to learn more about how you can help WWF Philippines environmental frontliners and partner communities, check out the link on the pinned comment of this video. In these challenging times, let us support the lives of the people who work tirelessly to ensure that we're all well fed and that the wildlife and their habitats are protected.
You can also visit WWF Philippines' official Facebook page. If you click on the Learn More button and support the environmental frontliners and partner communities by learning more about what is happening on Facebook. They're also on Instagram and the major social platforms. So thank you again, guys. This is Jeremy Jauncey of WWF US Ambassador signing off.
And this is Pia Wurtzbach, Miss Universe 2015 and newest ambassador of WWF Philippines. Together, let us #change the ending for the planet. Good night, guys. Thank you so much.
Good night, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you.